Yo, what's good guys? Today I want to show y'all the top 5 best LRs that we have currently in Dokkan Battle. Now to do this, we're going to be factoring in every type of hard content in the game, being the red zones / supreme magnificent battles. Then you got the battle hardened formidable foes event, and lastly the new festival of battles event as well, which is heavily regarded as the toughest fight in the game. So without further ado, coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the LR Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku that transforms into Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Now the reason I wanted to include this guy on the list indefinitely is because he's actually runnable in every type of content currently in the game. He's got guaranteed guard and a great chance to dodge in his base form for 4 turns. He's got a guaranteed crit when you super attack with 24 ki, and also in his base form he's giving 50% defense support to power beyond Super Saiyan. He also doesn't struggle for ki whatsoever, so he's gonna be a great addition to just about any team you could fit him on. But where he really gets busted is once you want to transform with them, which realistically you can do on any turn. You just have to get below 70% HP, or you can do it unconditionally starting from turn 5. Now when he goes Great Ape, the reason why it can be very useful is because you can use it as sort of a team protector mechanic. Once you're done with your barrage of attacks, this Goku actually has a chance to cancel certain enemy actions. So you'll see the boss doing normal attacks, but in most cases it can also cancel out his super attack, it can change the pattern of the character locking, and it can even cancel out AoE attacks, which are all 3 big weaknesses to this Goku. So he can actually cancel it out, but beware, he can also kind of do that and put himself in a bad situation. I've had that happen before, but in most cases I've noticed it to be helpful more than it hurts. And then once he's Super Saiyan 4, he's got guaranteed guard for the rest of the fight. He's stacking attack and defense, which is helpful in the Festival of Battles edition. And then as you guys know, he also gives power beyond Super Saiyan or Giant 8 power allies 70% defense and 10% damage reduction, which is crazy. On top of that, with his super attack effect, he can buff your allies attack and defense for 2 turns. Next up, we have the LR Tech Gods coming in at the number 4 spot. And not only is this character really good for all of the hardest fights in the game, but what gives this guy the edge over the Super Saiyan 3 Goku is the fact that this guy can actually go in slot 1 in a lot of scenarios as well. On the first turn that they show up, they get 77% damage reduction, and these guys also have guard for 7 turns. They're also going to be greatly stacking attack and defense, so the longer the fight goes and you can delay their transformation, the better they're gonna get, which is why they're so crazy in the Festival of Battles event. They do have a slight weakness, however, which is why they're not number 1, but their weakness is the fact that if you get them on turn 1 and you get that guaranteed 77% damage reduction, when you get them again on turn 3 before they can transform, they're gonna be a little vulnerable to taking some damage right there. But as long as you can make it to turn 4 with this card, they're gonna be able to cook any boss in the game, because once you transform with them, they're gonna get that 77% damage reduction again for that first turn. They guard all attacks. They double rainbow orb change, which is also good because when they collect rainbow orbs, they get dodge in their passive. And if your HP is 50% or less, then you get guaranteed dodge for the entire turn. On top of that, if the enemy or your own HP is under 50%, you can launch their active skill, which is going to be a guaranteed crit, which is essentially a big nuke to any boss you're facing. Now Now, as amazing as this card is, the reason why it's number 4 and not higher is that a big part of this card's defensive capabilities revolve around dodge, and unfortunately right now there are a lot of fights that are currently canceling dodge. So if they haven't stacked a lot and they don't have that 77% damage reduction, they can get caught. Okay guys, coming in third place, taking on the bronze trophy, is going to be the LR Easy 8 Super Saiyan 4 Duo that transforms into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This card is very similar to the last one, but one thing I will say is that I feel like this one is actually way better in a lot of ways. So they get that 77% damage reduction on the first turn in base and the first term transformed, just like the gods, which means they also have the same weakness that the gods have, which is when you get them on turn 1 and then again on turn 3, they won't have the damage reduction and they could take some damage. But what makes this guy better than the gods is once they get transformed into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, they get the guaranteed dodge, they get 77% damage reduction for 1 turn, but they also rainbow orb change, which is important because for every rainbow orb they get 10% damage reduction. So on the first turn that this guy is out, you get guard and you can get 100% damage reduction, and on top of that this guy has a scouter, so he can see where the super attack is, and you're supposed to put him in front of the super attack because he also has a super attack nullification chance, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if you get this guy stacked up and then you put him to counter the super attack, he's going to be doing an insane amount of damage while also saving you from taking a ton of damage. And since he has damage reduction in his passive as opposed to the dodge chance that the gods have, if you take him into those same dodge canceling bosses, this guy's still going to be eating good because you cannot cancel his damage reduction. And as for his super attack counter, it also doesn't count as a dodge. Again, it counts as a nullification, so they can't cancel that out either. The gods are still really good. I just feel like this guy is better, but needless to say, you can bring both of them in any type of content right now in Dokkan Battle. I low-key debated putting this guy at number 2 due to his effectiveness in the Festival of Battles event, and also due to the number 2 spot low-key getting caught more often. Because in the number 2 spot, we got the Super Saiyan Vegeta Angel and Super Saiyan Goku Angel that tag in and out and can also transform into LR Super Gogeta. Now, like I mentioned before, I debated putting this guy at number 3 and actually bumping up the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta into number 2, which honestly, I could still see myself doing that in the future. The reason I would do that is kind of simple, right? This guy is really good in red zone fights and is actually probably one of the best cards you can have in red zone. However, when it comes to the battle hard and formidable foes event, this guy can get caught and die in a lot of situations at the start of the fight, as well as the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that we mentioned before. This guy is low-key a better character to run in the Festival of Battles fight as well. But the reason I decided to throw this guy into the number 2 spot is because this guy has a lot of good gimmicks that can help you out in a lot of tough scenarios. The Vegeta portion of this card is giving successors and fusion category allies key +1 and 40% defense. He's got guard as well, but where this guy really comes clutch and earns his number 2 spot is going to be the fact that he has 2 active skills. So not only can you go and transform into Gogeta on turn 5 with this guy, but actually on turn 4 you can tag out from this Vegeta into Goku, and his active skill has a guaranteed Ghost Usher, which has actually saved me quite a bit of times in red zones and battle hard and formidable foes. And once this guy transforms into Super Gogeta, he's got that active skill that has busted insane insane support for the whole rotation. And on top of that, if he gets locked in a certain spot and you don't want him there, he can actually break out of that lock as well, because he nullifies all negative boss status effects. This guy also has arguably the best leader skill in the game, considering he's giving everybody on this top 5 LR list the full leader skill buff. At this point in the video, I know for a fact you know who's coming in at number 1. So without further ado, taking home the gold, we got the GOAT LR Tech Super Saiyan Goku and LR Super Saiyan Vegeta Angel, who can also fuse into Super Vegito. Now this is a similar deal to what happened with the 7-year Easy A's, right? Because this guy is a very similar version to the AGL Vegeta that just came in the 2nd spot. However, this guy in base form is going to be a much more reliable option, because you don't have to worry about this guy dying at all for the first 3 turns. He's got collectively 90% damage reduction in slot 2 or 3. So he's going to be able to survive with that better than the AGL base Vegeta is going to last, only having guard. He's also giving key and defensive support to earth protecting heroes and Patara category allies. Starting from the 4th turn, you can tag out from the Goku into the Vegeta, who can hold down slot 1 just like the tag Goku can do in the Gogeta card. Because for this guy in slot 1, he's going to be guarding with 70% damage reduction, which is actually crazy. He's also going to be giving attack support in this state as well. And then once we make it to turn 5 with this guy, you can basically wrap up just about every fight besides Festival of Battle. Because when you transform with this guy, he also has the 4-turn scouter that Gogeta has, and he's also guarding all attacks with 60% damage reduction. But what makes this guy stand out from the Gogeta is the fact that this guy also does some nasty counter attacks that can whittle away literally any boss that we have in this game. Once you get his active skill, that is basically a win button, because he has a target ability that makes all attacks target him, and he also gives himself a defense buff as well as guaranteed crits for the whole turn. So what that means is, since all the attacks are targeted at him and he's got the counters and he's got the guaranteed crits, he's going to be doing massive amounts of damage that most of these bosses cannot handle, which is useful for red zones and battle hardened formidable foes. And then if you bring this guy into Festival of Battles and get attack and defensive stacks with this guy, once you bust out the active, you can actually clear the hardest stages in the Festival of Battle events. This guy's team specifically is how I beat Festival of Battles for the first time, and he was the most crucial part of the process. Without this character, I currently believe that you cannot complete the Festival of Battles event, and he excels all around in the entire game. This is a must-have LR for any Dokkan player, which is why I decided to throw him in the number 1 spot. But if you thought this video went hard, then you gotta check out the video on screen where I show you the top 5 best teams currently in Dokkan Battle. Peace.